Here's a lineup of the tools you'll need to remove the firing pin. First, you'll need a 3/32 roll pin starter punch. This is a number 3S from Brownell. Next, we have a 3/32 punch, a 1/8 inch punch, a 3/32 roll pin punch, and then take a popsicle stick and chop it up into a 3/8 inch piece and a 2-inch piece. And then finally a new roller pin. The starter punch has a hollow tip on it where the roller pin will seat. And then there's the roll pin punch itself with a rounded end and a shoulder, so that when you seat it on top of the roller pin, you won't bugger up the roller pin as you're pounding it in. I've made a small block of wood with some strategically placed holes and divots. The holes don't go all the way through, they're only so deep so that they can catch the pins that come out. Use the 1/8 inch punch to push the firing pin further into the slide, leaving room for the 2-inch piece of popsicle stick to fit between the slide and the firing pin. This relieves the pressure on the roll pin so that it can be driven out of the slide. Place the roll pin over one of the holes in the block of wood to catch the roll pin when it comes out. Use the 3/32 punch to drive the roll pin from the slide. Set the roll pin off to the side. When you put this back together, you're going to use a new roll pin. To take and remove the firing pin, place the middle finger at the end of the slide, the index finger on the popsicle stick and the thumb on the other side. Lift the popsicle stick. Your middle finger will catch the firing pin in the spring. To reinstall, place the spring and the firing pin into its hole, and make sure when this is in there that you have the little notch in the firing pin faces away from you in this orientation here. Then you can take the 1/8 inch punch, press it in, and take the little 3/8 inch piece of popsicle stick, place it between the slide and the firing pin, and this leaves that notch open to the roll pin hole. And you can take and start the roll pin. Use this punch only to start that roll pin. And once it's started, then you can use the 3/32 roll pin punch to complete the insertion of the pin. Remove the little piece of popsicle stick from the bottom, and your firing pin is ready to go. Double check it with a punch. Make sure it's free to move. Here are some of the tools you'll need for the frame removal. First, we'll need a hook for the hammer spring, a 1/8 inch punch, a screwdriver with a broad blade, the 1/38 by 1/16 nail. Next, we'll need a pin vise with a 1/16 drill bit. And finally, the homemade tool for the hammer spring seat removal. Access to the hammer spring seat is via this little hole. The seat is held in place by the tab that's on the seat. And in order to get at that tab, I've built this little tool out of an old handle from a dresser, a little hook where I chopped off the tip until there was enough in the middle of this to screw all the way into that handle and leave no threads exposed. Now modify the metal hook till you have about 0.117 inches in diameter, and then flatten one side until the flat area is about 3/32 wide, and the length of the tool tip is about an 1/8 inch long, just enough to reach inside and press on the tab of the seat. And this is how it all works together. Take the little tool, place it in at the back of the handle, match up the flat of the tool with the flat in the access hole, and then squeeze with the palm of your hand and your fingers until that tab is depressed. Take your screwdriver, insert between the seat and the handle, give a little twist, and the seat will pop out. Next, we'll release the hammer spring tension by placing the hook underneath the hammer spring seat pin, grabbing the pin and the spring, taking a good grip, lift slowly, carefully, twist, and the tension is relieved. Next, we'll take the block of wood with the frame pin holes drilled in it, place the polymer frame such that the two frame pins fit over those holes. We'll be using the pin on the right that we have the flattened nose on. Take and place it in the access hole just in front of the rear frame pin. Take your 1/8 inch punch, and you want to drive these pins from right to left. They're tapered pins. Make sure you're driving them from the right side of the frame, polymer frame, to the left. Then you can take and retrieve them. Either remember the orientation or measure them when you're ready to put them back into the gun. The frame is now ready to lift out. The little nail will hold the hammer catch at the back end, and the frame lifts right out. Now we're going to do a little extra here. Isn't required. I'm going to take this pin vise and my drill bit, and I've removed the nail at the back end and let that hammer catch fall. This allows me to put that 1/16 inch drill into the access hole, and I make sure that it's perpendicular to the other side of the frame, the left side. Look at it, top and the back. Now twist the pin vise and create a small divot on the left side of the polymer frame. Now take your finger and pull back on the hammer catch and insert the nail into the access hole until it meets up with the divot that you've just created. This will keep the hammer catch in place so that when you replace the frame, it'll be a lot easier to insert.